A January 6th defendant has died. This is John Anderson, 61 years old, died in the hospital. And his attorney, Marina Medvin, by the way, an immigrant to America, a feisty lawyer, someone who's been representing very ably some of these January 6 defendants. Normally when you're representing someone, you can't talk about the situation. You can't describe publicly the facts of the case. Why? Because you're under this kind of upcoming trial and you have to keep everything under wraps. But with John Anderson having passed away, Marina Medvin is able to spell out the story of John Anderson, which is really eye-opening because it shows you the deep cynicism, and I would say even wickedness, of the prosecutorial forces of the Biden administration. This would be the Attorney General, and this would be the goon squad that is going after these guys. In a sense, I will say indiscriminately, and you'll see what I mean by that in a minute. So this guy, John Anderson, is a former Marine. He's owned small businesses for most of his life, a mechanic shop, a foam spray insulation service. He's a church-going guy, and basically a good guy, a right-winger, a Trumpster. He went to Washington, D.C., not to storm the Capitol. He went there to he thought this was kind of a historic protest and he wanted to be there. So there he is on January 6th. And he takes out his phone and he's recording everything that's going on. Now he sees a crowd pushing toward the Capitol and he goes with them and he's filming. And while he's filming, he finds himself at the Capitol Hill tunnel entrance. And he has no intention of going into the Capitol, but he's pushed a little bit by the crowd. In other words, you know how crowds have a certain kind of momentum, so they begin to push him toward the Capitol, but not in the Capitol. He doesn't go in the Capitol. Now, while he's there, a kind of, you would almost call it a spray fight, erupts between some of the protesters and some of the cops. They start whipping out spray, chemical spray, and spraying at each other. And this is going back and forth. Now, this guy, John Anderson, isn't all that well. He's a guy who has a heart condition, he has allergies, he has asthma. And so the spray basically fills up his lungs, he can't breathe, and he falls to the ground. He falls to the ground, at which point the officers come to help him. And John Anderson says, I'm eternally grateful that the officers did that. They pull him up and they take him into the Capitol. In other words, they draw this guy into the Capitol to pull him in a way away from the crowd. Now, they check him out. He seems to be better. He seems to be okay. And so they release him. And it would normally have been the end of the matter. But amazingly, as part of the great crackdown, shock and awe, we're going to arrest everybody, they come back to his house, hunt him down at 5 a.m., surround him, throw him down on the pavement, and arrest him. And when he's locked up, Marina Medvin notices they suddenly produce all these charges against him. They say that, quote, he was stealing 2 police shields. They say that he was assaulting and resisting or impeding officers, and he was also guilty of, quote, civil disorder, quite apart from the normal crime of being illegally in the Capitol, even though they brought him there. He didn't go there of his own accord. Now, Marina Medvin has looked at this video of him supposedly assaulting officers and, quote, stealing police shields. All you see in the video is the crowd is passing a police shield over his head as he is down being held by the officers. In other words, he's getting aid from the officers. He at one point touches the shield, but he doesn't have the shield. It's not his shield. And of course, since the police had him in their custody, you think that they would have let him walk off and go, oh yeah, you can go. You can keep the 2 police shields. No, this makes absolutely no sense. So the video evidence, far from showing that he resisted the cops, he couldn't resist the cops. They were helping him. He was on the ground. So Marina Medvin says that far from the video evidence, which she's now been able to obtain as part of a grudgingly given discovery, far from convicting him, it exonerates him. But the government doesn't work like this. Their idea is to throw charges on you, know that you're facing the danger of a left-wing judge, you're facing the danger of a judge who basically is all in with the government, and so they try to extract a plea out of you. And that's what they were trying to do with this guy. They were basically, listen, we'll drop some of the charges, but you got to plead guilty to a felony, and you're going to face some prison time. Prison time for what? So I think this is the tragedy of John Anderson. He is survived by his wife, Beth, and there's going to be a celebration of life for him Monday, October 4th. It's at the 11 a.m. at the First Conservative Baptist Church in Jacksonville, Florida. This is a guy who loved his country, and his country treated him very badly. And unfortunately, in the end, he lost his life in the not-so-loving arms of the U.S. government.